Most brands think that the reason that their sizing is off is because they have a completely wrong apparel sizing chart. The truth is a little bit more nuanced than that. The issue is in the jumps that you're making between sizes, which is what we call grading rather than the sizes itself. That's why you can get a size medium and it fits absolutely perfect, but a size large fits completely off. And that's why maybe with another product, you get a size medium and small that fit perfect, but a size large and an XL fit incorrect. Why is this? The reason that this happens is quite simple. Most brands copy generic factory grading and measurement charts. And when you copy generic, you get generic. This doesn't take into account the different fit intent, so how you want the fabric to fit, the actual fabric stretch and recovery, so how the fabric is going to actually stretch and recover over time. Ultimately, it doesn't take into account the gender and the end use case scenario. So in today's episode, I'll run you through how you can actually determine what sort of grading and sizing to use in each of those 4 different scenarios, so that your size medium fits the way that a size medium should on a pair of leggings, a size large fits the way that it should on a pair of leggings, so on and so forth. And that way you know how the grading differs between different products, different genders, different fabrics, and different functional elements. So without further ado, let's get right in. My name is Shadi. I'm the co-founder and creative director of FittDesign, and we've worked with over 1,000 brands over the last 10 years to help them design, develop, and launch their activewear collections. And the one thing that I've learned is that if you rely on the factory to create a grading and a sizing chart for you, you're going to get generic measurements that really feel cheap and do not satisfy the end user. What we want to understand is that a factory's traditional grading is built to be safe or for mass production. It rarely takes into account the specifics of your collection. The 4 things that we need to account for that actually control these sizing jumps, or what we call as grading, which is the difference between the chest measurement of a size medium to a size large, are going to be the fabric stretch and recovery. It's going to be the fit intent and the actual silhouette that you're using on the garments. Number 3, it's going to be the gender specific and the market allocation. So if you're going for the Asian market versus the European market versus the US market. And lastly, it's going to be the category and the stress points where the garment is going to get pulled in where. Number 1 is going to be the fabric stretch and the recovery. It goes without saying that if you have a fabric with a high amount of stretch, that your size jumps should traditionally be smaller. Again, there's no rule of thumb, but the understanding here is that if your fabric has a low stretch, your jumps are going to be actually larger because of the less amount of stretch, and the dimension that you're implementing needs to be able to account for that. So let's use real world examples of leggings and 2 different scenarios. You have case A, where you have high stretch, and ultimately you have strong recovery performance built into the fabric. If you grade too excessively between sizes, let's just say small and medium, you might find that the waistband ends up being too loose across the outlier sizes. You might get a perfect fit on the size small and size medium, but as you start to go towards the outliers, you get more and more fabric there where your fabric could have actually been pulled tighter to the garment and stretched more to give you that compressive effect. In case B, if you have a lower stretch, then you end up with a firmer knit. If you end up grading less, then what happens is your garment gets too tight. Let's use the example of a hoodie. If your fabric has minimal stretch and you're grading at 1 inch for the chest, you might be fine between sizes small to medium, but perhaps if you have a large grading set at size extra large and size 2XL, you'll find that the hoodie doesn't have enough stretch in it to be able to accommodate those larger measurements. So that 1 inch grading ends up being too little. What's an actionable rule that you can use? If you have a high stretch fabric with a great snapback, you're going to grade slightly less, around 15 to 20% less. If you have a low stretch fabric with a low snapback, you're going to want to grade the regular amount or 20% more than what you would have with a high stretch fabric. Number 2 is going to be the fit intent. Fit intent ultimately ends up allowing you to determine how much you're going to grade. Let's just say you had 3 different fits. You had compressive leggings, you had a neutral or regular fit, and then you had an oversized fit. For compressive leggings, you're ultimately going to know that you're going to be using a stretch fabric, so that also plays into it. But in isolation, you're going to be grading less with a compression garment because you know that you want to fit skin tight onto the wearer. So the chest increases, the thigh opening increases, the waist increases will be different than that of a relaxed or an oversized fit garment where you know that you need to cut further away from the skin. For example, for leggings where you might have a tight fit, your waist measurement increase might be maximum 1 inch. But if you have a looser fit garment, then it might be 1.125 inches or even 1.25 inches depending on the gender. For the thigh opening, it becomes even more extreme. With a legging, you might have a 0.5 or 0.75 increase. With a looser fit, you might have a 0.875, or a 1-inch increase on the thigh opening. So different types of fits require different gradings. And just as a rule of thumb, what you have to understand is that the larger your fit, traditionally the larger your grading. So a like-for-like comparison of a chest grade increase or measurement increase for a compression garment to a chest increase for a relaxed or an oversized garment is going to be more. Again, approximately 10 to 15% more on each step. So if you go from compression to regular, you're looking at 10%. If you go from regular to actual oversized, you're looking at approximately 10%. The third is going to be the gender direction or the specific end use. If you're going for a male versus female hoodie, you have to understand that the way that men and women sort of grade or distribute across sizes is going to be different. With men, we typically have more extreme body shapes across the extremes, so the increases need to be larger. As a real-world example, if you have a men's oversized hoodie, typically the actual grade measurement between different sizes is going to be 1.25. With a woman, it could be between 1 and 1.125 inches on the half width. The same is going to be true for sleeve length. Typically for men, if you're looking at a raglan sleeve, long sleeve, you have around 1 inch on the grade measurement. For women, you might have something around 0.75 or 0.875. It just comes down to biology. In general, women tend to change their measurements less on the extremes, right? If you think about the general distribution of how women sort of go from their minimum measurements to their maximum measurements, it tends to be far less in terms of variety than men. You can have a man that is 5'3" all the way to 6'4". With women, that distribution is way less extreme. Another determining factor to consider is going to be your end market. If you go to launch a specific brand in the Asian market, it's going to be different in terms of what a small is considered than in a European market. And if you go to launch in a European market, it's going to be slightly different than what is considered a small in the American market. In general, in the US, we tend to have the size small B, size medium in Asian markets. And at the same time, the jumps between sizes in the US, especially for the male demographic, tend to be slightly more than that of their Asian counterparts. Whereas with the Asian market, we might get a 1-inch increase all across a hoodie for a male hoodie. For the US market, we definitely will get around a 1.25-inch increase. It just comes down to how society perceives different sizes and specific habits of the consumer within that market. So just as a rule of thumb to understand, the Asian market tends to be the smallest fitted sizes in terms of length and width, and the US markets tend to be the largest sizes. So if you are a size small in the United States, you will most likely be a size medium in the Asian market. Number 4, last but not least, is going to be the category stress points that determine where grading is going to be the most integral. A lot of people consider grading to be a one-size-fits-all solution and that all points of measurement across all different garments are going to grade equally. They kind of treat a hoodie like a rectangle, and they grade it equally on the chest and on the waist. But that cannot be further from the truth, especially in specific use case scenarios. Each category has specific stress points that alter the way that the garment is graded. If you look at a legging, you have your waistband, you have your hip, you have your rise, and you have your thigh. Those are different points of measurements, all of which grade differently. Your hip is going to grade slightly larger than your waist, specifically to account for that extreme in the area where a lot of people carry most of their body mass. If you look at a lot of people, they don't carry most of their body mass in the thinnest part of their waist. They carry it in their thighs and in their glutes, which ends up requiring more variation across sizes, whereas with the waist, you might have an increase of 1 inch. With the hips or the widest hip, you might have an increase of 1.25 inches. The same is going to be true for the front rise. The front rise, or the rise measurement in general, is not going to grade the same as the outseam measurement in general. You're going to have a much smaller grade than that of the outseam, because that rise measurement accounts for such a small proportion of our human biology that between sizes, you might just need around 0.25 or 0.375 inches on a legging, or maybe 0.5 inches on a jogger. So you have to account for these specific points of measurements. If you look at a hoodie, your shoulder width is going to drape and it's going to grade very differently than your chest width, because in general, your shoulders do not get much broader than your chest. If you look at someone with a large chest, perhaps they are a size extra large. It's not necessary that it's because of their shoulders. Their shoulders and their insertion point of where their shoulders are, unless they're quite muscular, will stay the same. It's the chest and the waist and the belly area that carry most amount of fat. So you'll tend to notice that it's those areas in which the extremes happen, where a lot of people carry their body mass in. Now, how do you develop your own grading plan? There's a 5-step simple process. Step 1 is lock in your base size fit. If you are someone who is measuring themselves as a size small or size medium, develop your core base size fit and fit it perfectly to you, and then grade from there. Once you have a starting point, this creates a lack of confusion when you start to grade accordingly. Number 2 is define the fit intent in one specific sentence. So if you have a pair of leggings, you might say, I want a highly compressive pair of leggings that snatches the waist and that shapes the body like a second skin. Or if you have an oversized hoodie, you might be looking for a boxy fit, or you might be looking for a performance taper fit. Number 3 is define the fabric behavior. Do you have a high stretch and high recovery fabric, or do you have a fabric that has almost no stretch and no recovery? Step 4, you need to decide your actual grading properties. So this comes down to what are the 3 areas in which your grading must be perfect in order to achieve the perfect fit intent. This comes down to a legging where you know for a fact that you're not going to want excess fabric on the crotch, you're not going to want excess fabric on the waist, and you're going to need to make sure that the thigh opening is comfortable enough for people to move confidently in. Step 5 is test one size up and one size down once you've established the core base size to make sure that your grading makes sense. Once you're able to test those sizes up and down, you can move with confidence into bulk knowing that the grading intent is perfect. Or get someone to properly help you with a clear sizing chart and that has experience in doing so. You can avoid going through multiple endless rounds of samples and shooting in the dark and moving into bulk without confidence by actually getting expert help. And if you want our help, you can check the link in the description to apply to work with us and to get a quotation in under 24 hours of what it would take for us to turn your idea into a physical product in under 30 days. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really helps us out and it keeps us motivated to keep pumping out this content for you. And I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fit Design TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.